from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it, many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tatra Sky Marathon, the 6th stage of the Golden Trail World Series. I am Martin Gaffuri and I'm today announcing the live with David Hellard that you obviously all know about. David, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, this, what you can't see here, although you may see drops coming through a bit later. The big news already is it is raining, and the questions yesterday were who are going to win this, and the only way to answer it was by, if it rains, it may change.
It will change.
It will change.
This is the kind of situation where before the rain started coming down, it's like, okay, well, we know the runners, we know the terrain, and we know who can actually play their loves technical, and for him, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you can see in the virtual ranking, bling, 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 Bart going up.
Runners like Marlon Osser as well from the Basque Country. She loves technical, she loves the wet. Fred Chanchand, gotta be suiting him. Roberto De Lorendi.
Yeah, I feel, I mean, Roberto is the man who, like, regardless of the weather, the terrain, everything, it will definitely do right. But yeah. And then on the other end, question marks with, like, for example, Robert Penboy, although he's done Zagama, so he should be familiar with bad weather and slippery rocks.
I mean, we've got Josephat back. He led out against Killian in Sierra Zanau, and even in a dry race like that, he struggled at the end. But this is super polished rock. It's not super technical until it becomes slippery. And then actually, it's going to be such a challenge for, if we think of the people who are going to lead out the first 11 kilometers, which is very, very fast. Joylene and Joe,
as well as the knowledge, the experience running on slippery rocks. Like, you don't put your feet the same way, you don't put the same pressure. And so, as you said, it's going to be brand new for a lot of runners. So yeah, exciting times. Like, all the cards have been reshuffled ever since it started raining. But maybe a little bit about, like, here, Tatra Mountains. We're in Poland.
Yeah, but we're going to bring live to you a little bit differently today. Because of we've got Skylinks all around the course, but we're not going to be filming with live cameras. Instead, how this will work is I'll camera runners will be filming the athletes. They'll then get to their next stage where they will download the information and we will play that video back to you. So while Martin and I are live, I can attest to that. I'm pinching him right now. He is.
It works.
He is. Yeah. We will be commenting on the trackers that we can see. We will have the race splits throughout the course. There's 7 different sections I think we should get timing splits through. But we will be playing the videos once that's happened. So the start is live. We can see that with our runners, our cyclists going out, but we'll then be playing segments to catch up as we go through the course.
And again, so thanks, David, for explaining that. I think this is important for the audience to understand, like, this is not going to be the traditional live end. And as much as we're excited for a more spicy race with the rain, obviously that's going to make flying drones impossible. So there's going to be no aerial shots from the start and finish. So it's going to limit the resources in terms of images. But we do have all the kind of the background tools, the WhatsApp groups, people out on the course. So we're going to try and gather as much information as we can to then feed it back to you. And obviously in the chat, we already see a lot of Polish flags flying high. So this is going to be exciting to have you all there with us. Please ask questions. We're going to be talking about a lot of different topics. If there's no images, we can still have discussions related to the Gold Trail Series, like trail running in general. We can touch base on a lot of topics, and it's going to be the opportunity to discuss that. And already I see some familiar names here. Welcome, Albert. Thanks for being here. You're always here, everywhere, somewhere, for as long as there's a trail running going on.
Always picking up on my mistakes. Thank you, Albert. I'll be expecting to make a few more today. But if you've been watching the camera work of the start line and the surrounding tents, do not let that fool you. This is a Gamma type audience. They are already up in the clouds. There's a cheer zone of 1,000 people. They've had to limit that. This race is working very closely with the national parks, but there are 1,000 Polish fans at the peak or on the way to the peak. They're in fancy dress. There's a competition for whoever gives the best cheers. And so while it looks like it's quiet at this start line, actually this course is going to be erupting as the athletes, but particularly Bob Brodieski as he goes through.
Yeah, we're I mean, you can see that we're super excited, and then it's good to see you all come into the live. We've got, did I miss her? Yeah, she's here. Hola Maria from Cerzinal. She was obviously with us, playing a big role in the organization of Cerzinal last weekend, and now she's still following. Just, you see, like, it's a big family.
28 kilometers approximately. There's been a couple of map changes through the weeks. 1,700 meters and 50 meters of climbing, but significantly the climbing, the technicality, it is all grouped together in the middle.
Yeah, and we expect actually the men to catch the women. So the men will start 20 minutes later, and we expect the men to catch up with the women around the highest summit, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce this because this is actually pretty hard. It's the Starorobosiansky ridge, which is at the border with Poland, and now I'm blanking.
The Poland and where are we on the Slovenia? Slovakia.
I didn't want to say it wrong, but then I was like, I'm blanking. So here we go. Here's the confirmation. It is raining, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's got their poncho on, and it's, oh shit.
It looks like
it's raining in the tent. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, it looks incredibly dark out there. And the athletes, as they were getting on the bus, they've all come together to the start line. When they went to sleep last night, it didn't look like there was going to be rain this morning. On the journey over, it was looking lovely and actually quite bright. So their mood would have changed in this last 25 minutes, 30 minutes or so. But we're seeing our top 10 women being counted in here. And here is Marta Martinez from Spain. She's
and Christina Simon was just before you were talking about her, so we just saw her on the screen.
And actually, so Marta is someone who will definitely be happy that it's raining. She prefers the technical course for sure.
Filiera is still a smile on her face, so she doesn't seem too affected by the rain.
And Anna Gibson, our 1500-meter specialist, 3 weeks out from track season, will be now. I'm pretty sure she'll be wondering what she's doing here a little bit with this weather.
Yeah, well, she was excited, and then this season on the track, she was pretty happy in UPB at 4:08.
And Marlon Osser, yes, this is the runner we expect to be flying through this field in the second third of the race, our technical specialist.
Yeah. And then we missed Yao Miao.
Yeah.
We saw her on the screen. We didn't talk about her. I think it's important now to acknowledge her. It sounded like she's done a whole lot of mileage in this past week. And word on the street is that she is extremely strong.
Yeah.
And look at her, smile on her face. Jolene, newcomer in the Golden Trail Series and actually in the world of trail running. She used to run many years ago track and cross country, stopped running entirely to raise a family. She's got 2 kids and then realized, you know what, I'm going to come back to this thing.
But I'm excited to see what she does on this course because we don't know. No one knows quite how good she is technically because even at Sierra Zanao, she looked pretty good on the technical terrain. But I think the main thing for her, if you look at new runners coming to the event, she had no fear. And she said in the press conference, she has no fear of this course. But it's going to be a race from start to finish, changing where I do think we won't know until they're off the peaks into that last 6K, actually, who is going to win this race. And that means it's going to be spicy from start to finish.
So we're still like, if we start on time, 3 minutes away from the start. We have the traditional instrument being played. I don't know if we're going to have them on the images. There are like long pipes, and basically it's played by the Highlanders who used to have like clans up on the mountains many years ago. And basically this is kind of a call out to the mountain gods to like ask for safe journey, safe passage in the mountains. So it's always good to have this cultural experience shared with the runners and get to see what's happening and from like locally.
And actually 2 days ago we had the Highlands Games happening, soaring wood, smashing through with axes. It was great to see. So there's a huge amount of culture around this event. And actually the Tatra Sky Race, even though it's only 5 years old, the organisation around this race has been running races here since the climbing and running races since the late 70s. So it's steeped in history. But there you can see our nervous athletes. Turn up the lights, please, God.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You probably can't hear it, but the thunder is rumbling right behind us. We have actually direct line of sight on the start line from where we're commenting, from the tent. The tent that, by the way, is leaking. We have drops coming down on us. Like, we're keeping it exciting. This is awesome. And again, appreciate all of you being in the live. It's good to see some of you already following. Travis, Joelyn doing back-to-back. There's actually a lot of athletes doing back-to-back. Sergi now and Tatra Sky Marathon. This is called the European trip. So anybody actually from Europe or outside of Europe participate in that trip that packs 2 races, just like we did 2 races back-to-back in Asia. So it was Japan and China, and we will do back-to-back races in America, in the Marion Headlands in San Francisco, and then at the Mammoth Trail Fest.
And if I could just say, if we are electrocuted today in this tent, could I leave everything I own to my son Hercules, just so it's on record? There is a chance. But there are some tired legs coming into this. And actually, from our favourites, Marlon Osser is the only one who is going to be fresh coming in. She hasn't raced for quite some time, which could make a big difference to the second half of this race. But here comes our countdown.
Countdown. 5 seconds to start, ladies and gentlemen.
3, 2, 1. Let's go! And it's this. But we expect to see Joylene and Miao Yao potentially taking to the front of this race. We've got 11K of very runnable trail. There are a few bumps in here, but something else that we haven't mentioned yet is the races are putting on additional bonuses.
Yes, very good point.
The first person who comes through, they're calling it the sprint stage, but if you come through to close to the first aid station at the 7 kilometer mark, that person will receive €500. They have a segment from the first aid station to the peak for another 500, and the peak down to the second aid station, which you may not think that that's significant, but actually having spoken to Ezekiel from significant in Clarice Kipsang at the front here. She likes to lead out. She is a very good uphill runner. So clearly her, and on the left that was Philarice, and in the white and the green that is Joylene.
Yes, and it's hard to process this because, as we were saying, with the Golden Trail Series, we went from Sierra Zinal here to the Tatra Sky Marathon in Poland. And during that trip, all the past days have been hot, sunny. And so it's hard to see this environment and to understand that this is actually pouring down with rain. None of these athletes have experienced rain in the past week. And then the ground, apparently, I mean, it's not apparently, it was very dry. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, all the dust, everything is going to be washed off. The stones are going to be slippery. It's going to turn muddy. And I don't even know if we're going to have images, because once they turn off, for them it's going to be a left-hand side turn into a single track, and that single track was dirt.
Yeah.
So by now it's probably a mud fest.
Yeah.
And that's going to be such a game changer.
But
yeah, mind-blowing.
But the men are starting 20 minutes behind, and that means all of these female runners will go through that trail. And if it's not a mud bath yet, it will be by the time the men reach it, because it's just going to be churned by these runners. But something else, and this is Meow Yao, you can see on the right there in the white and the red, looking comfortable. I did see Anna Gibson tucked behind in the...
Anna Gibson, it's easy to spot her. She's got the bright orange Brook top.
Yeah, and Christina as well from Romania was tucked in behind on the left. We were talking about equipment, and only 20 minutes ago, I saw a conversation between Madalena and Joylene, where Joylene was still trying to get a rain-proof coat, and Madalena was trying to help her with that. It's mandatory equipment. We've just seen one of the staff come in, and their face is absolutely shocked about something. So we have an update coming, but this is going to be not just hard because of the slipperiness, but this is cold. It's around 15 degrees outside, but if you are not used to this kind of temperatures and you haven't prepared yourself mentally, this is going to feel incredibly cold, and by the time they get up on that ridge, it could be brutal.
Yeah, and actually talking about the ridge, David, we have teams here on the ground to take photos and videos, and they are up on the ridge at this moment, and they're getting hit by lightning. They have less than 100 meters visibility. It's cold. It's raining as hard as it is now. So fingers crossed it kind of eases down, but we're hoping that this is not going to be that bad or that dangerous that we're going to actually not going to be able to send the runners up there.
Yeah, there is an alternative route that the runners actually, some of the runners took 2 days ago, where they do shift off the ridge, and so there is an alternative course should this horrific weather continue. But we've also been finding out more and more about Joylene's journey to Sierra Zinal, because she arrived as a completely unknown. But it does seem that she has been training with some incredibly good, an entire year, and that was her cycle.
Kids, do not do this at home.
Yeah, I mean, how she did that without being injured is incredible. But if you think about it, to see how she can use that on the downhills, and whether Sierra Zinal only has half the descending of the climbing, which is significant because it punishes your legs a lot less. And one of the challenges will be for our front runners, whether they've gone off too fast, and if they can actually push in the last 6K of this, basically a sprint into the finish, or whether this downhill with some big steps that will be punishing will actually take too much out of their legs to be able to run through to our finish line.
So we're 6 minutes in, and now we're trying to track the female runners as they have this step into the trail. Obviously, the ATV could not get onto that single track. I was trying to look at all the numbers that are at the front. No surprise. Mention to Sarah Carter, American runner. I think she's with the, yeah, it confirmed. I was checking with the trail team, and she is in the lead group. There you go. You can see it here, and I think if I click on one of those, yeah, there she is. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's her first year out of university. She's been specialising in the kind of the 1500s, and Anna Gibson took that route last year. She's also mentioned that Lauren Gregory, who has a 15:17 5K time, could be someone else to watch who is at a similar level to Anna. She's like a 4:10 rather than Anna's 4:8.
4:8, yeah.
1500s. But she said that Lauren has been focusing more on 5Ks, 10Ks, so does have the track speed but a little bit more endurance. So it's exciting to see some new athletes. Some other athletes that have been mentioned to us are actually a husband and wife team from Poland. It's Rafał Matuszak. Oh, I've already absolutely
Matuszak.
Yeah, Matuszak and his wife Veronika Matuszak used to be Pizik. They are both track runners that moved to America, and they were in San Francisco. She had a sports scholarship, winning the under 23 10K European Championships with a time of 32:37. For under 23, that is rapid. That was back in 2018. They moved back to Poland this year, and Rafał, well, they're both top of the Golden Trail series, but Rafał was going to do Golden Trail. She saw how exciting that was and said, if you're doing that, I'm coming to join you. So,
well, and then just they have a track background, but Rafał has been Polish national champion in trail running, so that's not his attempt. I apologize, I do not remember, but he was at European champs and actually didn't do too bad.
In fact, they both did very well in the European champs this year.
So we're going to have like solid locals fighting.
Now, we've talked about Bart, and Bart, as far as we're aware, is undefeated in Poland, which is pretty significant for your confidence, but he's also had... I don't know if he knows, I hope he knows by now, there are 200 friends and family who have come on buses from his local town to join us. And so he has a huge amount of support out on the course. But he moved here 4 weeks ago, and apologies, we're getting static and lightning now. We're not quite sure how this is going to play out with the videos, and also whether you can hear us. We do actually have rain coming into our tent. But Bart has moved here 4 weeks ago to get to understand the course. We have now lost our TV, so we will continue commentating as if the race is, hoping you can still hear us. But he moved here 4 weeks ago to get to know the course. And out of all our athletes today who we expect to do very well, he's known for his very aggressive downhill running. When you combine that with the wet and his course knowledge, for me, he is starting to become a favourite for today. If he can keep up there, keep in distance of our likely leaders, Jos Fat, potentially Ezekiel as well. He said at the press conference yesterday that he did the Golden Trail this year mainly because he knew that Tatra Sky was going to be in the series. It's been talked about for 3 years potentially coming here, but he said this is the biggest race of his year, and it's all been building up to this race, so we're expecting him to be peaking today on this course. So hopefully good news for our Polish fans that Bart will potentially be race favourite coming in. And sorry, I'm just going to have to do a little bit of housekeeping because I've just realised our electricals are in quite perilous positions right now.
Yeah, like it's oh crap.
So apologies if we lose.
We like
We're just having to move our
sorry,
plugs,
team.
apparently.
Yeah, this is gonna get tricky because now the power is deep in water,
The power is in water.
and then we're gonna like try to avoid getting completely electrocuted.
Now, we will be getting splits coming quite soon, but our men's are due to start in 8 minutes' time. So we'll be counting down the top 10 shortly. But as said before, this is an live experience where there will be the videos downloaded from our front of the pack runners. They'll be sent through Skylink to the control center, and they'll then be replaying what's happened with a 10-15 minute delay on it.
Okay, team. Yeah. So there's going to be a 10-minute delay of the men's start because apparently the weather conditions are the worst exactly where we are. Further up the valley, on the course where the runners are going, it sounds like it's getting a little better. So we're hoping that by delaying by 10 minutes the men's start, we're going to have a better chance of having images to show you. But yeah, really apologize. I think this is this is mission impossible here. The water's just come from the back, and we're now in like 5 centimeters of water, and we can hear the electrical sound in the headsets crackling. So again, if we do pass out, we all love you. I've had a really good life, and so if we go, we'll go in style. But thank you everyone for being with us. Apologize again, we were hoping to offer you amazing aerial footage of the Tatra mountains with the drones. And now, obviously, as you can see on this fixed camera pointing at the start line, the rain is pouring, and we can't fly the drones. This is an obvious one, so we don't have images of that. We're trying to keep it together here under the tent with the live coverage. But yeah, we're gonna stick with it. We're gonna talk with you. We're gonna keep you updated on what's happening in the women's race. Let's have a look at it.
So, but I'm just trying to get into the headspace of some of our male runners now, because we talked about equipment, and it's not just the equipment on the course. Actually, significantly, because the runners were coming here unaware that it was going to be quite so wet and cold, a lot of the athletes are huddled at the moment in tents, still just in one layer. And so, if you've not thought this through, if you've not prepared well for this, a lot of them will be struggling to stay warm and maintain their heat so that they can actually warm up and ensure that they start without cold muscles. And obviously, the colder your muscles are, the more likely you are to potentially pull a muscle. Now, we do have live trackers. If you go to the website, sport-timing.pl, you can see the race splits, but you can also track your favorite athletes. Part of the mandatory equipment list today was that the athletes were taking a mobile phone with them. They've all downloaded an app, and we can therefore see who is at the front of our race. So I'm now going to be just clicking in. We're just seeing where Joylene is on our course. And unfortunately, Joylene's phone seems to be back at our race HQ where we were staying tonight. So instead, we're going to be checking in with Meow Meow just to see where about they are in the course. So the update is Meow Meow is currently sat back. It looks in approximately second place. They have gone through close to our first checkpoint, we believe, and we'll be getting the splits for that shortly. But Martin, in terms of if you're someone like Malinossa and you know that this is coming, will she change anything in the first 10K in this wet? Will she be preserving her energy in a slightly different way?
anyway. She was going to do her own thing, but now she knows that that's going to play to her strength, and so she's just going to wait for the right moment.
Someone else we haven't spoken about yet is Madalena Fleuria. She came third in Sierra Zanao at the weekend, last weekend, but prior to that race, she had been struggling with stomach issues. And so she wasn't actually racing at the speed that we were expecting to see her. It does seem like she's in a slightly better headspace coming into this race today. So potentially she may be up with Jolene as well, because if we looked at the time of Jolene in Sierra Zanao, it was a very, very good race, but actually I would have expected someone like Sophia, Judith, and Madalena to have been up with her for the whole race based on previous years and previous performances. So we do expect Madalena to be up in that front group as well today.
Right, so here's an update from the course, ladies and gentlemen. Not what we would have hoped, but if you've looked on the course, this first part is up the valley where the start and finish line are, and then it goes across to another valley, and then past the first aid station, and then up a gravel road to the second aid station. Now, at the second aid station, which is 11 kilometers in, there is a chalet, and they're going to stop the woman there. They're going to stop there and put them in the chalet so they can be sheltered and wait until they can see if they can send them up on the ridge, up on the higher ground, because it is exposed, because it, as we were telling you earlier, through the people that are up there, the photographers, there is lightning, so clearly a massive safety hazard, and again, safety comes first. And so the plan right now is when the women who started at 20 minutes ago at 8:40 will arrive to the 11-kilometer mark, they're going to be stopped and they're going to be invited to come and find shelter in the chalet. And the men's start is being put on hold. It's going to be put on hold until further notice. So it is definitely not what we expected, and now we're starting to regret. We were happy about the race because it was going to change the race strategy, but all of a sudden, if that can possibly alter or change or cancel the race, this is not what we want. Obviously, we had high expectation. We were super excited about all this, but again, safety comes first, and so we're just gonna have to play it by ear. We're just gonna keep you updated. Soul Brother, you said it. Mother Nature has all the plans, and we all know that Mother Nature is definitely stronger than all of us. And so we just, we play with what's being thrown at us, and we're gonna see. Harry Clayton, yes, Ali Ostrander is racing. She started.
Now,
so in the meantime, and maybe you can get a better understanding of what we're talking about when we say like it's good to get to higher ground. Let's take a look at this Tatra Sky Marathon, the entire course. So we're gonna go step by step. Here we're down in the valley at the start, and this is where it's pissing down, and then they go across and then down in the other valley, and then up to the, before they climb, right on the left, it was the 11K mark, and that is the second aid station, and this is where we're gonna stop before, as you can see, sending them up on the higher ridge on the Starorobo Śląski at K19. So see, 11.7, we're gonna keep them down there before we send them on this big climb. So
now,
wait and see.
Significantly for the race though, if they start at the second aid station, which I do hope the race goes forward, that has just annulled all of the advantages of the quicker runners. And so
for the first part, correct. Yeah.
So suddenly, if we've spoken about Malinasa, she's going to be starting toe to toe. It's like in Formula One when the safety car comes out and all of your lead dissipates, and so. The way she'll be feeling now, it changes into a 16K race, 17K race that starts with technical, slippery, I've called them pesky Polish polished steps. And so for her now, will anyone be able to challenge her in any... This is surely giving her an insurmountable lead by the time she comes to the base. There's 6K at the end. that is super fast, but with her skill versus everyone else, you would expect now this is advantage Marlin massively.
Well, I mean, Malin, of course, but also basically all the runners who can mentally be strong and be like, roll with anything that's being thrown at you. You know, you start for your race, you have anticipated everything, you've paced yourself, and then you get to the second aid station, kilometer 11.7, and you're like, we're going to stop you, and we're going to put you in there. It's like, what? And there's going to be the runner who's going to say like, oh, but this is throwing away my race, everything is going to shit, da-da-da. And then there's going to be the runner who's like, okay, I'm going to sit tight, and if we go back, I'm going to be freaking ready. And so that, regardless of the running ability, the skills, the preference on the terrain, it's going to be mental. A lot of the ultra runners being very strong at this because there's just so many things that are being thrown at you in a 100-mile race. So it's going to be interesting to see if some of these runners actually can cope with this extremely well and then be smart as well. When you're being stopped, the first thing you do, you pull out your jacket, you stay warm, you look after yourself, you drink, because they're going to tell them, guys, you know, we're stopping you now, but if conditions allow, you're going to be starting back out.
And even keep moving while you're in there.
True.
Don't just sit down, and it will be easy to feel like you want to physically huddle up and get in the ball, but actually you want to stay jogging on the spot, moving side to side, just to make sure that your muscles, your heart rate doesn't settle too much, your muscles don't completely drop. But in terms of the other runners behind, Marta Martinez, also someone who's very good, prefers the technical terrain, and so suddenly for her, she's someone who we'd be expecting to be coming in the top 10, but actually on a course like this now it changes, and she will be thinking, is this now top 5 for me? And it's very hard to then adapt if you know this is disadvantage to yourselves. In terms of where this is in our race series, something to explain for our men's course is some of our athletes, this is the last race they'll be doing before the final. So Elisina Lazoui, he will not be traveling to America. He is currently leading the overall standings, but he knows that runners like Remy and Patrick Kipengeno, they still have 2 opportunities to score big in our overall race rankings. And so he's sat on 752 points out of a maximum of 800, but is very aware that Patrick has 2 maximum scoring races under his belt. And with America being very fast, suiting the faster runners like himself and Philemon, potentially Elisine needs to win here to be able to go into the final as the race overall leader, which will be significant. In terms of our overall standings, other runners that are here today racing 176 points. Now, to tell you a bit about where we are based in the Tatra Mountains, and there's quite a story behind this valley. During occupation, when the Germans and the Austrians were ruling over the area, to raise money for the war, they said that they would sell off the rights, the commercial rights to this valley, to any local that wanted to buy. In fact, we're just getting an update internally from our team about the what's going on with our sound. So I hope we can still continue with our sound. Now, so a lot of the local families decided they'd buy the rights to this valley, access to this valley back to themselves. So,
David, just an idea. So sorry about the sound. Obviously, as it started raining, all the cables got in the water. It would have. I think it has been fixed now. So apologize for that. The technical team has been right onto it, and now we should be back with it. So if you can confirm in the chat that now the sound is clear, that would be fantastic. Now you can go and carry on with the local culture, David, because this is indeed pretty cool.
It was one of those stories that I didn't think I'd need to be to be talking about because I thought the race was going to be so explosive, and actually it has been explosive from the Lightning. So now, because of this, the Tatra National Park was formed in 1955, and the rights are owned by local families, and so which is why we do have some incredible bars and some services, and it now means that the short and the long of it is this journey has allowed races like the Tatra Sky Race to then come into the region, and it hasn't been lost into the administration. The park was able to be formed, and off the back of that, they then has moved several times, always working with the local park directors who have given permission for us to be here today. And in fact, the director of the park ran the race last year.
Yeah, so we just got the confirmation that they were stopping the runners at 11.7 kilometers.
But in the chat, let us know, are there any other races you've been watching where similar conditions has happened, where they've had to stop a race halfway through? And what happened for the rest of that race? When the runners returned, did you notice a significant change in their mood, in how the tactics, and indeed did it have a very big impact on the end results? Now, in terms of the men's race, we have Josephat back from Sierra Zanao, who led out with his 59-minute half marathon time. He only arrived here yesterday, and so he is coming into this race again. We expect to see him leading out the first 11 kilometers with runners like Roberto De Lorenzi and Ezekiel Rutt likely to be the closest to him in terms of speed. And then there's quite a few runners who are more technically gifted runners, more than I'd say in our women's field currently. People like Bogdan Damian, actually, who was stepped out from Sierra Zanao because he was just feeling tired. He'll be delighted that it's becoming far more technical. And Marcin Kubica as well, another Polish runner we haven't mentioned yet, is also someone who loves the technical courses. And so we'll be able to see in our men's a more classic run-through of how we thought this race would unfold, where we do expect Josephat to have a significant lead by the 11k mark, but he may not be used to running in mud and running in puddles and wet either. So actually, he may be struggling with his trainer selection, but mentally knowing what to do.
Marcin, with the discussion I had the opportunity to have with Jedrzejek from King Runner Ultra, who's basically understands and knows all the ins and outs of trail running in Poland, said that Marcin could say with a straight face that he can compete with Bart. He is in an extremely good shape right now. We've seen him in the past couple of years get stronger and stronger, and yeah, he is definitely one of the ones to look out. This is his home. I mean, this is Poland. This is where he is at home. He in front of his audience. Hopefully, the audience is still there and alive from the top at Starorobosianski. But yes, I mean, as you can see on these images, the start, it looks like a war zone. It was pouring down with rain. Everybody's running around trying to figure out what's going on. But we're being told that, yes, they are still undetermined on when the start of the men will take place. So if you're just joining now, just know that the women's race has been stopped or will be stopped before they actually branch out into the trail that leads up to the high country. So they're keeping them safe at the bottom of the valley at the second aid station, 11.7 kilometers in, and there's a chalet where they can take shelter and stay, basically stay away, out of the rain. Now, again, and this is why the men's are here. They were supposed to start 12 minutes ago, but the men's start has been not canceled, but postponed indefinitely. We don't know when they're going to let them go. And basically, they're going to let them go if or when the weather conditions up on the mountain are good enough to say, yes, we can let them actually get up there. So right now we're in limbo. We're just waiting for the race organization to make a call. Obviously, as you can see, they've already made the decision not to let the women go up in the mountain. So safety is definitely the primary concern. As for every race director, this is not a surprising decision, as much as we would have hoped for a race without a break. But, you know, look at this. Some people are still happy.
and the good news is that where we are now at the base in the valley, the rain does seem to have dissipated somewhat. But also the hut we've talked about where our women are going into, it is by one of the aid stations as well. So they will be able to get additional food and drink to them just to make sure that they are able to fuel. Now, we've talked about Martin Kubica, and you know, Martin has said that Bart is actually one of his inspirations. And this race does feel running. Bart and Martin, who organises this race, there's many Martins in this country, they first went to Zagama in 2019 as their first overseas race. This is the race that Bart came third in. It's then, for him, changes the trajectory into becoming a professional international trail runner. Martin was so inspired, he then set up the Tatra Sky Race. And so to come back here now, back to Poland, when it's Bart's last year in the Golden Trail, feels like it's almost a predestined event where this is his coronation, his thank you for bringing those two individuals, bringing trail to Poland, but also to then have Martin Kubica, who has only really been racing Golden Trail internationally for the last couple of years. The battle between those two is the battle between almost the history of Polish trail running and what hopefully will be the future of Polish trail running as well. And so there is a sense of that from the crowd. At the top 10 presentation that Martin did yesterday, you know, the crowds were massive, given that we aren't in the town here. People would have had to come out and driven just to get to see the top 10. And so that there is this real feeling of Poland has arrived on the national scene and international scene with its runners several years ago, but actually Poland is now arriving as a race destination and as a place for international athletes to come and race.
So a little bit of an update on the women's race, because they're obviously started now 30 minutes ago. And as we were explaining, they're going to be stopped at the 11.7 kilometer mark where they can take shelter. That's the second aid station. And we were telling you about her, Sarah Carter. According to the GPS tracker, seems to be leading the race so far. So she's just ahead of Rachel Tomasic, and then Yao. But then I think some GPS trackers are not working, because I'm feeling. Oh yeah, Filiers Kissan. She fell back a little bit.
Which would be remarkable, an incredible start. I was sat next to a couple of the trail team on the bus over, and there do seem to be now a lot of young runners from America who have been collegiate runners, partly because Andy Wacker and Grayson Murphy's trail team they've created to transition the huge number of American track runners into trail. And they had a big group that came over to Sierra Zanao, a lot of them paying for their own travel, and stayed together and have been traveling together, coming to Europe to try and get a sense of what trail running is over here, because the trails are very different. And so to see all these new runners coming through, I think is typical of what's going to be happening over the next 5 to 10 years, because we have seen the emergence of some countries. You know, in the women's, Spain have been fantastic this year. We've seen a lot of Polish runners coming into the scene, but it does feel now that America are connecting the talent pool they've had at collegiate level into trail. And but to come here and lead out takes confidence when, if you're running in rains like this and you know that there's technical terrain coming, it just shows you must be not only a fast athlete, but must have had some incredible performances to have the confidence to lead out a race like this.
Well, I mean, it's the confidence to be like, well, I got nothing to lose. And then she definitely has the speed in the legs. You know, we've seen Just Fat lead out CRZ now and then realize that maybe the pace was a bit too hard. And then alternatively, like, she was, okay, I don't care about the weather at all. And so she kept trucking at a pace she thought she could maintain. And everybody else was like, whoa, okay, I don't know where I'm going. Big change in the, like, big variable change in the plan, and therefore reassess and then maybe start a little bit more conservatively. It's hard at this point. There's just so many things changing. So it's good to see on the images the men's warming up. They must have been told that there would be a start eventually.
There's some individuals covered in mud already, the gentleman in the red, so clearly it's slippy. Even at our start line, people are going down.
Yeah, so here Just Fat on the right-hand side, like maybe looking a bit worried, unsure what's happening.
But look, if we think about runners coming in from Kenya 2 years ago, Just Fat has 2 full bottles on a running vest. And we would not have seen that, I dare to say, even last year. I don't think we'd have seen runners from Run Through or Milimani runners having that equipment or the awareness of having practice coming in with race nutrition in the right places, knowing when to take it. And I think that's why we saw such a difference in Sierra Zanau, is not only have they got this speed coming through, but they finally are being trained in how to run trail, but how to manage their races as well. And so the fact that Just Fat there has got 2 bottles just shows that he's prepared to run from start to finish hard. And actually the knowledge is starting to be shared across the world of how to actually properly fuel races like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to be a lot of different race strategies, and as we talked about before the start, like basically experience in this kind of weather is going to be critical, because they will know how to handle that. So still big storms up in the high country, therefore still big question mark on whether the men's are going to be able to start, or we're going to let go the women out of the 11.7 kilometer. And then I feel like also the live tracker seems to be off, because now we have we were talking about Sarah Carter, and then now her dot is not moving at all on the map, David, and then we have what seems to be the first dot, Malenosa. So I was like, oh, okay, we're definitely missing some, but then, yeah, there's one dot that's not moving at all, is Yao Miao, and she's further back, which we would have expected her to be there, I think, for a while. So maybe this is the reception that is been shut down, or something is not working, and my screen is not refreshing, because Filiar, like, none of the dots have been moving. So I think we're moving forward blind now.
We've got a race split from the 8K mark, though.
So there we go.
Hopefully is and there's some names in there we wouldn't expect. That we do have Joylene leading out in 33.26. In second place is Philaries Kisang. So actually, the runners we were expecting to be seeing leading out have been doing. She was 20 seconds back. But another new runner from the UK, we saw Scout Adkin in Sierra Zanau, a very good climber, take second place. But Naomi Lang from Salomon UK in third place, 33.57, so just off the back of there. And in fourth place, and fourth and fifth, it looks like they're running close together now, maybe working together. Anna Gibson in fourth, about 20 seconds back on third, and then 7 seconds behind her, Lauren Gregory. And when it is wet...
Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it, many men have failed. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises, when the sun I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Hi guys, just me, David now, back with the live. As you've probably figured out from some of the commentating we've done so far, Martin and I have been switching in and out while one of us picks up cables, moves things that may be electrocuting, and so Martin will be joining us potentially shortly, but we do have an update on both races. They've taken the decision because of the storms not clearing on the mountain, that the women's race are now being pulled back to the start. They are completely cancelling the women's race. It was deemed too dangerous to hold them in the hut while they're wet, waiting for the storm to blow through. And the men's race is still undetermined. So you can see the photos of our women there being updated on what's happening. Unfortunately, the news is that a second storm is coming through. It doesn't mean that the race won't go ahead. We just don't know yet. So we've had confirmation that at 10 o'clock they will be making the decision on what happens with the men's race. But I'm very sad to say that unfortunately the women's race has been cancelled. And one of the challenges I think in this region is that the weather can be unpredictable, but also there aren't hundreds and hundreds of alternative trails. So while we have had a few questions saying why wasn't there an alternative course, actually we hadn't expected the weather to be quite so bad, and so there were alternative routes created for the course, but those routes were created for halfway up the climb, and because of how exposed it is up on that ridge, they've taken the really difficult decision that it would be dangerous to send them even partially up the climb. And so, unfortunately, we have had to abandon the women's race, and we will find out about 10 o'clock today. We will have an update on what is happening with the men's race. So, apologies. As to the live broadcast, just me at the moment. We don't have a huge amount of video clips we can display, but we're going to be talking you through a little bit about what's happened in the season so far and what we can expect from the rest of the season. And Martin may be joining me at some point as well. But we are still live on YouTube, so if you've got any questions, if you need any updates, then please do ask away in the chat. And it does seem to be more settled now down in the village, which means hopefully we won't be losing air. And in fact, Martin is joining us now as well. So I've announced that unfortunately they've cancelled the women's race, and there's an update at 10 on the men's. Have you had any other information come through?
Yeah, so that's what I was coming back to share with you. We had a lengthy conversation with Marcin. Sorry, I've been running across the field with Marcin, the race director, with the head of security, through their team. We've looked at the weather forecast, and basically the storm that we're in is going to get bigger and is going to just stay like this with thunder, with lightning for the next 90 minutes.
Okay.
So right now, as you mentioned, and this is confirmed, the women's race is stopped, and they're going to tell them to come down the big path and basically eventually back to here. They're probably going to go and pick them up at the bottom of the trail. And they were going to wait until 10 a.m. 10 a.m. So another 20 minutes to see whether or not the men's were going to start. But again, according to what we've been told and what we've seen on the map, and the weather is not getting any better for the next 90 minutes. But then we looked at the forecast for the day, even looking at options to postpone the race to this afternoon, and it is not getting any better either. Extremely hard situation for the race organizers. As we were explaining, the entire Polish trail running community was stoked to have the Golden Trail World Series here, wanted to showcase those beautiful mountains and give everybody a chance to have a fantastic experience in the mountains. But again, first and foremost, safety comes with the priority, and therefore this is going to be the situation. It looks like we have live images. I don't know if have you had images before of the women's?
Only for 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of the athletes still having the news brought to them. And you can see the athletes are running in unaware that...
Wait. They can't be I mean, so okay, this is more female runner coming into the 11K mark, so they're going to be stuck there. And then what we saw earlier is past that, so it's probably a camera runner who's going up, giving us images, but no runner are on this part, on this exposed section. So as we said, extremely hard decision, but as a race director, your mission is to get every runner back to the finish line safe, and if that means canceling the race 11 Ks in, well, so be it. And everybody will understand this decision, and everybody, I think, have been able to witness how bad the weather has been and how quickly it did hit us.
And they do have mandatory kits and equipment for this reason, because there have been some terrible tragedies in trail running through the years where races have pushed ahead or haven't actually been aware of conditions coming in, or athletes who've gone out without the right equipment. And so as sad as it is, and maybe things will change and we'll have an update at 10 o'clock, but we're very sorry for everyone who's stayed up to watch this, but unfortunately, it is the right decision to be taking, and it's just devastating for our women, I think, who've.
I mean, for the women's, but realistically for the men's as well, because, like, again, with the safety team, we did look at options, whether it's going to be this, like, later, like delaying the start. Didn't work. We saw on the map, like, the whole Thunder area is going to go almost worse for the next 90 minutes up high, and then later this afternoon it's not going to be any better, and then moving into the next day, obviously, as you can understand, all of the logistics, everything can just not be postponed a whole entire day. So it is what it is. I hate this expression because it doesn't mean anything, but it means like we're pretty much helpless in front of those weather conditions. These are the things you really cannot control.
And it's one of the reasons why we love trail running, is because you are in Mother Nature, in the elements, and it is unpredictable. And if we knew that every day was going to be sunny and that the conditions underfoot would never change, it would lose part of the excitement of the sport. And actually, unfortunately, though, sometimes Mother Nature is a cruel mistress. Yeah,
well said. I mean, I can read that to you as well. This is a text message we've received. Is a warning: storms and strong wind expected today. Risk of power outage during the storm. Seek shelter. And this is something that everybody's receiving in this area on any number. And you can see, so down below, it looks like it's a little better, but you can see up high this thick layer of dark clouds. And even from the finish area and starting area here, we can see lightning go hard on this. So again, down at the bottom here, what you can see is still tree line, but then above tree line, where they're going in the high part of the race, it is really, really bad. So
and even you may or may not have picked up at home, but while we were broadcasting, we would get static over our headphones when lightning was striking around us. The electricity was running through. So the ferocity of this storm it's very real. It looks so peaceful now. It's almost cruel seeing how. I mean, this looks like beautiful highlands that you'd want to run in. I'd go out in this thinking this is fine, but it's so hard to tell what the conditions are like at the top.
Exactly, and it's a completely different ball game at the top. It's completely exposed, and we have teams at the top, and they were telling us it's getting clearer now, but we can see another storm coming in the distance, and that confirms the weather forecast we could see on the mobile application of the safety team. And they were like, guys, this is gonna be like a small window, and then it's gonna hit hard again. And this is why we're here. Yeah, it's to gauge whether or not this is safe enough to send out the runners onto the course. And as of now, they said it is not safe at all.
And it's not just sad in terms of racing. I've been blown away these last 3 days by the beauty of this region and not being able to show you that. But we will be back in 10 minutes we're going for an ad break now. We will come back with a further update, but just to set your expectations right, as Martin has said, while we will have an update, it's sadly not looking great at the moment. So thank you for being with us to this point, and do hang on in there just in case a miracle comes through, but we're not hopeful right now.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, as you said, quick break, and maybe you can hear behind, but like we can hear still thunder rumbling pretty damn hard. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna call it a day.
Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in 10.
yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey? We about it, what you say, hey?
Emocji. Made in Małopolska.
Jest wiele powodów, żeby wyjechać wypocząć.
Gdzieś tam daleko.
Ale jest jeszcze więcej powodów, żeby przyjechać do nas.
Do Małopolski.
Czy chcecie je poznać?
Zapraszamy!
Po pierwsze, nie będzie tłumów. No, prawie nie. Tu z rodziną wyjdziesz dobrze, nie tylko na zdjęciu. Znajomi pomyślą, że byłeś gdzieś na południu Europy. I dobrze. Trasy bardziej zakręcone niż baranie rogi. Bo góry u nas wyglądają świetnie z dołu i z góry. Nie musisz znać języków obcych, żeby się dogadać. I wszędzie tu jesteś u siebie. Poznaj wszystkie twarze Małopolski i odkryj jej mniej znane oblicza. Podróżuj lokalnie, poznawaj lokalnie i zwiedzaj bezpiecznie przez cały rok. Małopolska. Poznajmy się.
You can try to be better than everyone else, but what if everyone else made you better?
Emocji. Made in Małopolska.
Jest wiele powodów, żeby wyjechać wypocząć.
Gdzieś tam daleko. Ale jest jeszcze więcej powodów, żeby przyjechać do nas.
Do Małopolski.
Czy chcecie je poznać?
Zapraszamy!
Po pierwsze, nie będzie tłumów. No, prawie nie. Tu z rodziną wyjdziesz dobrze, nie tylko na zdjęciu. Znajomi pomyślą, że byłeś gdzieś na południu Europy. I dobrze. Trasy bardziej zakręcone niż baranie rogi. Bo góry u nas wyglądają świetnie z dołu i z góry. Nie musisz znać języków obcych, żeby się dogadać. I wszędzie tu jesteś u siebie. Poznaj wszystkie twarze Małopolski i odkryj jej mniej znane oblicza. Podróżuj lokalnie, poznawaj lokalnie i zwiedzaj bezpiecznie przez cały rok. Małopolska. Poznajmy się.
You can try to be better than everyone else, but what if everyone else made you better?
What you need, yeah, man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah, man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey, we about it, What you need, yeah, man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah, man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah, man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey, we about it, What you say, hey.
100% emocji. Made in Małopolska.
Jest wiele powodów, żeby wyjechać wypocząć.
Gdzieś tam daleko. Ale jest jeszcze więcej powodów, żeby przyjechać do nas.
Do Małopolski.
Czy chcecie je poznać?
Zapraszamy!
Po pierwsze, nie będzie tłumów. No, prawie nie. Tu z rodziną wyjdziesz dobrze, nie tylko na zdjęciu. Znajomi pomyślą, że byłeś gdzieś na południu Europy. I dobrze. Trasy bardziej zakręcone niż baranie rogi. Bo góry u nas wyglądają świetnie z dołu i z góry. Nie musisz znać języków obcych, żeby się dogadać. I wszędzie tu jesteś u siebie. Poznaj wszystkie twarze Małopolski i odkryj jej mniej znane oblicza. Podróżuj lokalnie, poznawaj lokalnie i zwiedzaj bezpiecznie przez cały rok. Małopolska. Poznajmy się.
You can try to be better than everyone else, but what if everyone else made you better?
What you need, yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey, we about it, What you need, yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you need, yeah. Man, I got it, wow. What you say, hey, we about it, What you say, hey, what you need, yeah.
All right, team, we're back as promised to give you more of an update. Like, we're sitting here with David. Devastated news, although the best one, because we've heard again massive thunders right in the back, which is like behind where the big mountains are. Race has been officially canceled. The women had started. They've been put in a mountain hut at the 11K before going up onto the exposed section. They're going to be brought back to the road and shuttled back to the start. Look at that. The rain is starting again. And so the decision has been made to not even let the men start and basically cancel the Tatra Sky Marathon altogether. There are other races. The kids race is going to... I mean, I don't know if you can hear that. This is really going... again, really hard. And so once again, and if you know a little bit about trail running, if you're familiar with this, you know that this is 100% the best decision. Once again,
and even at the start line there were so many people shivering,
yes.
already cold, you know, hypothermia. It's such a hard decision, but definitely the right one.
And you know, it was probably like the hardest call Marcin had to make, because he cared so much about this race. He wanted to have I wanted everybody to have a good experience, and so he was on stage announcing to all the runners that the race was canceled and explaining the reasons why. And once he finished his speech, like, everybody clapped, everybody understood, and maybe it was a sign also from Mother Nature. But as soon as his speech finished, like, a massive lightning and a massive thunder started rumbling, just to confirm, like, guys, today it's just not gonna happen, and it's okay.
The athletes have been offered the opportunity to run the 15K which doesn't go up on that ridgeline
And
at
it's
1 o'clock.
exactly at 1 o'clock. It will start a little bit later. Again, big question mark because we don't even know if the weather is going to get better
Yeah.
by that point. But at least that was the update that Marcin could communicate.
Yeah, and he did say as well about offering an email coming out to do with the race next year. It sounds like people will be able to roll over as well. So they really are doing the best they can for all of the athletes and individuals involved. But the 15K is far removed from the distance we have, and we don't expect any Golden Trail runners will take part in that. And if they do it, it won't be linked to the series.
Nah, no, it won't again because, you know, I think it will also help us appreciate how lucky we've been for these past years because none of the races of the Golden Trail Series have been canceled because of that, and we've kind of dodged that bullet up until now, but we realize, well, you know, it is part of it, and it happens eventually, but you know, not so long ago it happened in France, but it happened in the middle of a race, and then some people died. And people are not supposed to die in organized events, and this is why you have a safety team. This is why the team has like the power of pulling the plug on the race if they say it is not safe for the runners. They have just done that, and again, we can't turn the camera around, but like water's coming now, like super hard. It's coming through the tent. It's dropping inside the tent, like
I've got a wet hand from. Like drips coming off.
What's happening right now? It's just, yeah. At least it comforts us that this is the best decision, no question asked.
Yeah.
You do not want to be. And then I see some of you on the chat as well. We appreciate your comment and then saying like this is a good decision. Yesterday you were in the top of the Clean Mountain, and you can't imagine people running up there. So yeah. All of the people who know about the mountain, who know about like the Tatra mountains, who know about that ridge, the Starorobo, Chianski, it's just impossible. And so,
and even the notion of delaying a day, our athletes are spread among Airbnbs, hostels, hotels. They've all got flights booked. If we were to put back accommodation even one day, it wouldn't be possible to actually find accommodation. One of the athletes from Romania was driving in from Slovakia because there wasn't anything near that they could book, and so we'd love to be able to put this race on tomorrow, but logistically it just would be impossible.
No. And the thing is, postponing the race to tomorrow is not even a guaranteed that tomorrow's race is going to start because the weather actually looks bad for the entire weekend. And
so just a smiling cameraman.
David, tell me if that works on the screen. I want to turn this around so you can actually see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, can you hear the thunder and the lightning, the electrical static coming through? And I know you've been wanting to not look at my face from the start, almost certainly, but yeah, this is torrential.
Does it work?
Yeah. And Marcin, the course director, he was shaking partly through the having to make this decision and the shock of it, but he's so cold himself because he's not had time to put on extra layers, and you know, people have been stuck out on this. So yeah, it is the right decision, as painful as that is, and I think I just feel so sorry for the organisers, and particularly for someone like Bart, who it's his last year in Golden Trail. This is the biggest race of his season, he was saying. But we will be back in California. We're going to next. We'll be going over there for a 1-2 with the headlands and the Mammoth Lakes. Is the next time you'll be seeing us, and a lot of our athletes will be traveling from here in preparation for that race in California, those races in California.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't really have good camera skills, but then that gave you an understanding of how bad this was. So yes, thanks David for the explanation. Next up will be indeed, like there was lightning, and I could hear it in my headset. I don't think it's getting safe even here.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is going to be a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to actually take shelter ourselves because this is getting bad all the way to here. We appreciate you. We appreciate your understanding. But keep the passion alive. And for every people from Poland, like, trail running is not dead. We know how big of a trail running nation you are. We know how strong the runners are. And we're going to see you again very soon. Don't give up, don't lose the fire, because we know you have it, and we're going to see you at many other races, and we're excited to share that with you.
Yeah, and thanks for hanging on in there. They really have done everything they could to try and make this race happen, but sometimes the gods just have a different view, unfortunately. But I've been David Hellard. We'll be back in California next month, and lead us out, Martin.
Yeah, Martin Gaffrey, same, with a lot of disappointment, but again, like, comfort in my heart knowing that all the runners are safe. We're gonna leave it you there, and again, we're gonna send you a bit more updates on Golden Trail Series social networks. But yeah, next step's gonna be the Headlands 27Ks by San Francisco, and then the Mammoth Trail Fest the weekend after during the US trip, and then the final in October in Locarno, Switzerland.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Happy trails.
Okay.